D Venkateshwarlu from 10th standard. First of all, respected principal of the school, I am Secretary sir, and correspondent of the school, Kaka Mangal sir. Once again, pleasant good morning to all my dear brothers and sisters. On the part of 79th Independence Day, I have been presenting a topic in front of you. The topic is about a word, an ideology which emphasizes the peoples in religious, which is known as secularism. What is secularism? The secularism which the word emphasizes the people of dividing the people into the groups, and they have been separating by their groups, and equally they have treated by the government, which is known as secularism. Before the government, which had done 1947 in independence, the secularism is continued successfully. After that, 1947, the secularism was controlled by the Jawaharlal Nehru, who was the Prime Minister of the India. He had for the modern society, which is emphasizing the secularism in the modern country of India. He had known for the emphasizing the secularism. The secularism is a part of our life, which had done by our precious kings, which is known as Ashoka Emperor and the Harsha Emperor. Ashoka led his emperor ago 2200 years ago, and Harsha had led his empire over 1400 years ago, and he had led and patronizing the groups of religious and racial expressions, and he concluded with that all the racial and expressions, they are equal to them. They couldn't take care about the racial and religious. They had divided to believe, and they have to imagine and the maintaining of the kingdom. After that, this history had made them to be as a successful persons in our history. After that, in 42nd Amendment of the Parliament Constitution at the 1976 year, they had concluded, S.P. Bommaya had informed and the case filed how the secularism is empowered, and all the people are gaining how the literacy rate and how the secularism going in our country. This secularism maintenance was about 64% of the Hindus are present in the secularism of all over the India. And all over the world, the secularism entered in a Christianity uniform civil code, which had been a uniform civil code that maintenance will be in a developed way. And we have to remember, all the people are not maintaining uniform civil code except Goa, which is state of India. All of the world maintaining secularism by dividing the religious and all caste and racial expressions which are going in our day-to-day life. And after that, what are the racial expressions who are going in our day-to-day life? The racial expressions are going in our day-to-day life by the color and the caste expressions and religious. And we have to remember, all the people are going to, and we have to remember, all the people are maintaining their religious expressions in a bad way, but we have to remember maintain our India in a secular way, and the constitution maintained by our parliament, Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha houses, they had been maintaining in a criticized way, that we have to remember. Article 27 that emphasizes the people how to maintain the racial and secular hermetic expression. The secularism is a part of our life that maintains a lot of expressions that you have to remember. The religious and the racial expressions are maintained by us. The 27 articles, cases filed and the action taken by the government who are emphasizing and releasing unsecular schemes which are derived from the government of central and state government. That state couldn't success as long as possible. The unsecular policies which are done by the government that couldn't possible to maintain all of the world, and the persons which are derived from the state and India's country like that, all of the world, that couldn't possible to maintain a secularitic world and the secularitic country and the state. That we have to remember, the secularism is maintained by the all over the world by the who are the leaders for the countries and the states. That we have to remember, all the people are going to be as emphasizing of the criticize of the secularism. The secularism is couldn't possible, which no one supporting, everyone support the secularism. To maintain the secularism, we have to remember all the people are not supporting the secularism. We have to remember the secularism is a part of our life. Like Hindus, Muslims and all the Christians are maintaining their religious faith by them, and they have to remember all the people are equal before the law. The law makes you perfect in the society and a prominent person in the society. After that, we have to remember that secularism is a part of our life. The secularistic nation which had done in our constitution, that is enshrined in our constitution to maintain our India as a successful country in all over the world. That we have to remember the secularism is a part of life, and how to imagine the secularism is your relationship which are maintained by your peoples and your surrounding neighbors. The secularism is maintained by you, and you have to remember the difference between Western secularism and India's secularism. There are difference between secularism in two parts, which is known as Western secularism and the Indian secularism. The Western secularism follows three principles known as follows the equality between the citizenships and maintaining the people in an equal way, and they have a polity which is known as maintaining the people in a good way, and they have to maintain the secularism in a proper way. And after this, the India is maintained in a one principle, what is known as the people who are maintaining the equal citizenship within the citizens who are made between them, that he had concluded. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who had built our constitution, he had enshrined the secularism in the constitution. The secularism republic nation which had done by our Ambedkar, that has maintained by our political leaders, but it hadn't been maintained successfully. As soon as possible, we have to be as a political leader, and we have to maintain the constitution as a secularism and socialism and nationalism country all over the world, and have to develop the country as soon as possible. All over the world aren't maintaining the secularism. They have been following the uniform civil code which had been applied for all over the world. The uniform civil code, they couldn't have any religious, they couldn't have any caste discrimination. They have been only one religious, they are the humans. That we have to remember. The uniform civil code which are applied by the people, and the constitution makers and the constitution emphasizing persons who are chief ministers and the prime ministers, they have been emphasizing the constitution to remedies of secularism and socialism, that maintain the people in eventually in equal way, and equality based from the people, that maintains all of the world as a successful and a developed country. And we have to remember that developed countries are not derived from the secular, they are derived from the socialism and nationalism and not uncontributed India, and like that. I have to remember the politics are going in a wrong way, which is known as corrupting the money of our people and ours, and that couldn't make our India as a developed country. We have to remember that all the people are being in a constitution way. We have to depend on the constitution. We have to be as a liberated one who all over the world. That we have to remember all the world are couldn't following the constitution, but we have to remember we have to follow the human rights, we have to follow the fundamental rights. That all of the people aren't maintaining their mindset to the society, but they are maintaining their hard-derived things to the society. They are being as secularistic persons and the socialism persons they have developed in their country. And all of the prominent persons, I have to remember, all of the world couldn't make the prominent person, but they couldn't have any prominent. But if you follow the rights and human rights and fundamental rights, after that all over the world, at seventh status of the meeting of remedies of WACF corporation which are made for the secularism in our all over the world of our country, which had made WACF corporation to maintain all the people in a secular way, and the socialism had developed between them, and they had submitted a lot of information. The seventh status of the current of what cooperation are done between the Manmohan Singh and Sonia Gandhi, at the cooperation of which had done in the 2014, which the people are maintaining their coefficients between the ministers and the people. They are maintaining a good way to ride. And we have to remember, all the people are not gaining sufficient money to maintain their family. They maintain for education for their child, and they have to become as a prominent person. They need to education and educate the children and to gain and the boon of the India to become as a prominent person in all the world. The secularism is part of us, and that you have to remember, all the peoples are equal between the law and the in front of law. Nobody is not unequal between the law. The present politics are not concluding that all of the persons are not equal between the law. They are maintaining the corrupted way. They are maintaining in illegal way that you couldn't see and observe by our eyes. That you have to remember, you have to read daily newspaper. And we have to remember, all the peoples are not maintaining their education and they couldn't maintaining their ideology for the society and the politics. They couldn't or maintaining our constitution in a right way. We have to think and oppose and revolute the politics. How you couldn't maintain the constitution in a right way and the wrong way, which you are deriving from a society. That you have to remember, all the persons are not concluding the constitution is a word which are derived from the people. We have to want a equal rights for all peoples. And the secularism, remember, all the peoples are between the homes who are maintaining discriminating the caste and race and color discrimination which are going in our day-to-day life. But you have to remember, tell your parents to maintain secularism country and secularism state. And you have to remember, all the people are not maintaining socialism and secularism. You have to remember, all the peoples to be maintain socialism and secularism. The secularism is a part of our life that could maintain you as a successful person and a prominent person in the society. And we have to remember, how to develop our country, we need our secularism and socialism to maintain our all over the world and all over the country. If you want to leader, you have to remember, you have to follow the rights and human rights and fundamental rights. Before the law, after 356 article which tells about the emphasizing of the secularism and the socialism, the unsecular schemes which is punished to the government or any management of any company. We have to remember, all the people are maintaining relationship, but they couldn't maintaining secularism and socialism. That leads to India as a successful and developed country in all the world. And finally, my conclusion is about, we are maintaining our India as soon as clean and as soon as possibility, but we have to remember, we have to maintain our world and our country in a right way. That we have to remember, our country is not contaminated. We have been contaminating. That you stop, but you aren't making right way. That the corrupted states are not possible to uncorrupt. We have to remember the ideas which are derived from the freedom fighters. That right, you have to stop and avoid the constitution remedies which are going on over India and all over the world. And thank you for giving this great opportunity.